Hi, I'm Rainbow Sparkle and this is The Enchanted Wood by Enid Blyton. And this is Chapter 4, The Folk of the Faraway Tree. Before very long, the children were hidden in the branches, and as they climbed upwards, when Mr. Whiskers came back with the 5 other brownies, not a child could be seen. "Hey, come down," yelled the brownies, dancing around the tree. "You'll be captured or lost. This tree is dangerous." Joe laughed and peered down. The faraway tree seemed to be growing acorns just where he was, so he picked one and threw it down. It hit Mr. Whiskers on his hat, and he rushed away shouting, "Ow, someone's shot me! Someone shot at me!" Then there was silence. "They've gone," said Joe, laughing again. "I expect they're afraid of being shot by acorn bullets. Funny little thing. Come on, girls." "This must be an oak tree, if it grows acorns," said Bessie as she climbed. But just as she said that, she stared in surprise at something nearby. It was a prickly chestnut case with conkers inside. "Good gracious," she said, "it's growing horse chestnuts just here. What a peculiar tree." "Well, let's hope it will grow apples and pears higher up," said Fanny with a giggle. "It's the most extraordinary tree." Soon they were quite high up. When Joe parted the leaves and tried to see out of the tree, he was amazed to find that he was far higher than the tallest tree in the whole wood. He and the girls looked down on the top of all the other trees, which looked like a broad green carpet. Joe was higher up than the girls, and suddenly he gave a shout. "I say, girls, come here by me quickly. I found something really strange." Bessie and Fanny climbed quickly up. "Why, it's a window in the tree," said Bessie. They all peered inside, and suddenly the window flung open and an angry little face looked out with a nightcap on. "Rude creatures!" shouted an angry little man who looked like a pixie. "Everybody that climbs this tree peeps in at me. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, there's always someone peeping." The children were too astonished to do anything but stare. The pixie disappeared and came back with a jug of water, and he flung it at Bessie and wet her. She gave a scream. "Perhaps you don't peep into people's houses next time," said the pixie with a grin, and he slammed his window shut and drew the curtain. "Well," said Bessie, trying to wipe herself dry with a handkerchief, "what a rude little man." "We'd better not look in any windows that we pass," said Joe. "But I was so surprised to see a window in the tree." Bessie soon got dry, and they climbed up and soon had another surprise. They came to a broad branch which led to a yellow door set nearly in the big trunk of the faraway tree. It had a little conker and a brightly polished bell. The children stared at the door. "I wonder who lives there," said Fanny. "Shall we knock and see?" said Joe. "Well, I don't want water over me again," said Bessie. "We'll ring the bell and then we can hide behind the branch," said Joe. "If anyone thinks he's going to throw water at us, he won't find us." So Joe rang the bell, and then they all went to hide behind a big branch. A voice came from inside the door. "I'm washing my hair, if that's the butcher. Now please leave a pound of sausages." The children stared at each other and laughed. It was odd to hear a butcher's coming up the faraway tree, and the voice shouted again, "If it's the oil man, I don't want anything. If it's the red dragon, he must call again next week. Good gracious, said Bessie, looking rather frightened. The red dragon? I don't like the sound of that. At that moment, the yellow door opened and a small little elf looked out. Her hair was fluffed out around her shoulders, drying, and she was rubbing it with a towel. She stared at the peeping children. "Did you ring my bell?" she asked. "What do you want?" We just wanted to see who lived in this funny little tree house," said Jo, peering in the dark room inside the tree. The elf smiled. She had a very sweet face. "Oh, come in for a moment," she said. "My name is Silkie, because of my silky hair. Where are you off to?" "Well, we're climbing up the faraway tree to see who's at the top," said Jo. "Oh, be careful you don't find something horrid," said Silkie, giving them each a chair in this dark little tree room. "Sometimes there's delightful places at the top of the tree, but sometimes there are queer lands too. Last week there was the land of Hippity Hop, which was dreadful. As soon as you got there, you had to hop on one leg and everything went hippity hop, even the trees. Nothing ever kept still. It was most tiring." "That does sound exciting," said Bessie. "Where's our food?" said Jo. "Let's ask Silkie if she wants to come with us." Oh, Silkie was pleased, but she sat there brushing her hair, her beautiful golden hair, and ate sandwiches with them there. She brought out a tin of pop biscuits, which were lovely. As soon as you bit into them, they went pop. And you suddenly found your mouth filled with new honey, and in the middle of the biscuits too. Fanny took 7, one after another, because she was a little bit greedy. So Bessie stopped her. "You'll go pop if you eat any more," she said. "Do a lot of people live in this tree?" asked Jo. "Yes, heaps," said Silkie. "They move in and out, you know. But I'm always here, and so is the angry pixie below." "Oh, yes, I've seen him," said Bessie. "Who else is there?" "Well, there's Mr. What's-his-name above me," said Silkie. "No one knows his name, and he doesn't even know it himself. So he's called Mr. What's-his-name. Don't wake him if he's asleep, he might chase you. And then there's Dame Wash-a-Lot. She's always washing as she pours water away down the tree, so you've got to look out for the waterfalls." "Oh, this is the most interesting and exciting tree," said Bessie, finishing her cake. "Jo, I think we ought to go now, or we'll never get to the top. Oh, goodbye, Silkie. We'll come and see you again one day." "Oh, please do," said Silkie. "I'd like to be friends." They all left the dear little room in the tree and began to climb once more. Not long after, they heard a peculiar noise somewhere. It sounded like an aeroplane throbbing and roaring. "But there can't be an aeroplane in this tree," said Jo. He peered all around, and then he saw what was making the noise. A funny old gnome sat in a deck chair on a broad branch, his mouth wide open, his eyes fast shut, snoring hard. "It's Mr. What's-his-name," said Bessie. "Gracious, what a noise he makes! Mind we don't wake him." "Shall I put a cherry in his mouth and see what happens?" said Jo, who was always ready for a bit of mischief. The faraway tree was growing cherries all round for a change, and there was plenty to pick. "No, Jo, no," said Bessie. "You know what Silkie said? He might chase us, and I don't want to fall out the faraway tree and bump down from brow to brow." So they all crept past old Mr. What's-a-name and went on climbing up and up. For a long time nothing happened, except that the wind blew in the tree. The children did not pass any more houses or windows in the tree, and then they heard another noise, a rather peculiar noise. They listened. It sounded like a waterfall, and suddenly Joe guessed what it was. "It's Dame Wash-a-Lot throwing her dirty water," he yelled. "Look out, Bessie! Look out, Fanny!" Down the trunk of the tree poured a lot of blue soapy water. Joe dodged it. Fanny slipped under a broad branch, but poor old Bessie got well washed from head to foot. How she shouted! Joe and Fanny had to lend her their hankies. "I am the most unlucky," sighed Bessie. "That's twice I've been wet today." Up they all went again, passing more little doors and windows, but seeing no one else, and at last they saw above them a big white cloud. "Look," said Joe in excitement. "This cloud has a hole in it, and the branches go up. I believe we're at the very top of the tree. Shall we creep through the cloud hole and see what the land is above?" "Let's," said Bessie and Fanny. So up they went.